So today I have a Killstar haul for you. It's been so long since I've been shopping on Killstar, but I've ended up buying 2 dresses and some Christmas decorations. So I thought basically what I would do today is I'd show you the first of my dresses. As always, I like to do kind of different section videos just because I know that some people are just searching for a specific dress and they just want to know about that one dress and they don't want to have to keep skipping through. So today I'm going to be talking about this dress, which is one of their recent releases. Now I do say recent because it seems like Killstar have really upped their amount of dress releases. So let me just scroll through and find out what this one is called. Basically, Killstar used to release maybe 4 blobs of dresses, 4 drops of dresses every year, but now it seems like they release a new drop every month. So this was actually 2 drops ago that they released this dress, but it was still really recently, and it does still say in the corner of the picture on the site, it does still say that it's new. So this is called the Rosalia Doll Dress and it does retail at $39.99. Well, I have definitely noticed that Killstar's prices have kind of gone up a little bit. You used to be able to find dresses which were in the kind of £30 range, they would be $29.99. Now it seems like this $39.99 mark is one of their cheapest dresses that they offer, which I do think is quite expensive, but that is one of the reasons why I like to make these reviews, so that you can see whether or not it is worth it. So this is the dress that I got, and it is in a doll dress style, which is not my favourite. I much prefer a skater dress. It just means that the waistline is slightly higher, whereas a skater dress's one would be maybe an inch or so lower. Now when I saw this dress I instantly wanted it because black and red are one of my favourite colour combinations, and I loved the roses on there. I love the fact that there were skulls in there and there were little pentagrams hidden around, and I also thought, which I know is a really sad thing to have to think when you're buying dresses, this is somewhat school appropriate. This is a dress I could wear to school and be fine, and I know that sounds a bit weird, but if I'm buying clothes I want to be able to wear it, get full wear of it. I don't want to just be able to wear it on the weekends. I did buy this thinking that it would be school appropriate, and it is school appropriate. Now I was watching Morgan Raven on Facebook and she mentioned that this dress was made out of a chiffon. Now I actually, when looking at the pictures of this dress, hadn't noticed that at all. I thought it was going to be made out of their usual kind of jersey material, but actually the fact that it was chiffon sent shivers down my spine. I bought a chiffon dress from Sourpuss. It was literally around this time last year, and even though I ordered it in a large, and I've always been a large in Sourpuss, the same with Killstar, I got it and there's just no way it's zipping up. And it was such a shame because the Sourpuss dress I actually spent £70 on. So when it came to this dress, I really wanted to make sure that it fitted. So instead of ordering it in my usual large, I ordered it in an XL, and I can quite honestly say it only just fits. If I had ordered it in a large, I can guarantee you it would not have zipped up. So I definitely say err on the side of caution, because there is no stretch in there at all, especially around the waist. There's just no stretch. So if you are at all cautious, I would order the size up. And I think comfort wise with doll dresses, it's always nice to have a little bit of room around your waist. So other than the fact that I had to size up, it is a really lovely dress. It does have a zip that goes all the way down and past the waistline. So as you can see, the waistline is sort of here, although it is a doll dress, so the waistline is slightly higher, but it does go all the way down. Now this is really nice. It means you can step into this dress, which I always love a step in dress, if that makes sense. But what I have ended up doing is literally unzipping it to about there and just pulling it over my head, because I find with those zips it's so hard to do by yourself, because you get halfway up your back and then you've got to start going from the top. So I honestly have just been using this much of the zip each time, and just so I can just grab it. If you've got someone who's there in the mornings to help you get dressed, then that's not too much of an issue. But yeah, the zip, as you can see, works really nicely, and it is quite a hidden zip. You actually can't tell it's there at all, and the little kind of bit just hangs right at the base of your neck. Now, round your neck, you obviously do have this collar, and this collar is made out of velvet. How do you guys know? I love my velvet dresses, so that was definitely like a big selling point to me. Not only was it my favourite colour combinations, it had my favourite flower on it, but it also had a little bit of velvet on there too. So the collar, I have to say, I kind of love it and hate it. I love this contrast it creates, and actually in real life, just like it's showing up on camera, the collar does look slightly darker than the actual fabric, but not like, it doesn't look ridiculously darker. It just shows up a little bit stronger than the rest of the dress. The only thing with having this velvet collar is it is very kind of thick and almost clumsy looking, if that makes sense. So it does sort of like flick around a bit, as you can probably see. Like, it just doesn't sit flat like some collars would. But I found, like, I've got velvet dresses with like cotton collars and they still don't sit. So I think it's just kind of a thing that comes with collars, that it doesn't always sit perfectly, and because it's not attached at the back, sometimes when I wear this I do end up having sort of one collar up, one collar down, which is absolutely fantastic look. So definitely something to think about with this dress is it does take a little bit of like collar maintenance, I'd say, during the day, especially if you're wearing a cardigan, because my cardigan sort of ended up going underneath the collar and then I kind of had to keep putting it round the other way. But I'd say this is definitely an easier dress to wear without a cardigan. On the front, it does also have a velvet bow. Now this is a pre-tied bow. It has really long strings, but it's pre-tied, so you can't actually undo it at all, and there is like a little stitch there. To be honest, I would rather it be this way, because I find with all my Killstar stuff where the bow is not pre-tied, the bows end up either coming undone or they start looking really like messy. So I do really like this kind of pre-tied aspect to the bow. For me personally, I wouldn't want the bow to be any bigger. It does have these really long like strings coming off the bow, but you could, it just literally looks like they're just cut. So if you did want to cut them, you could cut them slightly smaller. I found literally this one has the same as well. This is the other dress that I bought. This bow is pre-tied too, so I think they're in like a bit of a pre-tied bow rampage. But either way, I'm absolutely fine with that. Down the front of this dress, it does have buttons. They are not functioning at all, but there are 4 of these buttons. They're kind of very regular black circle buttons. They're on quite a few of my Killstar dresses. And then the interesting bit, which I think is quite flattering, but it does depend on your personal style and also your size, is on the kind of bust at the front, you do have these 2 frills that go down the front. I was really worried that I'd end up looking like I was wearing like a Victorian maid's apron, if that makes sense, but actually I think they work quite nicely with my figure. Obviously I can't comment on everyone's, but I feel like they work quite nicely. There isn't that much boob room, I have to say. If I'm wearing like a bra with any form of like a padding in it, this is way too tight, so I do kind of have to wear this with my mesh bras, but as you can see, there's like no stretch in there. And something which doesn't annoy me but may annoy some people is like when it does stretch, it does have that kind of like liney, I'm not really sure what you'd describe it as, but those kind of lines that end up going sort of across your boobs, like the stretch lines, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, there is no real getting around that for me, but it does kind of have those lines. So again, if you don't want the lines, if you want it to look more kind of like that, I would again size up, especially if you are like a larger breast size. But I have to say, even though it does have those kind of slight stretch lines, I do feel very comfortable and I feel very supported in this dress, which is really nice. And then it comes down to the waist, which is a baby doll kind of waist. The thing with baby dolls is I find that I never quite understand where they're meant to go, whether they're meant to go right under my bust, or if they need to go slightly further down. And that's my main issue with it, is because I can pull it down, but it does sort of end up riding back up under my bust. So yeah, there's no stretch in that at all, so it just kind of sits where it sits really. But yeah, I do still like the cut of it, and it's not necessarily like unflattering or anything, which I think the model in the picture, it doesn't really show too much on her. I think where she is quite flat chested, it does mean that like everything just sits slightly lower down. Now the only part of this dress which is now slightly big because I ordered the wrong size is the skirt, which I know sounds really weird, but there's slightly too much fabric on the side because obviously it's meant to cover someone with slightly bigger hips than mine. So I do get this sort of weird bit that sort of just sticks out here. It kind of just looks a bit like this when I wear it, just sticks out randomly. I think it's because if I did have slightly bigger hips, it would fill that out, but because this is a size bigger than I usually would have ordered, it doesn't quite fill out. So I definitely say if you were someone who does have bigger hips, you don't need to worry, there's lots of space down there. And then the skirt itself, it isn't really pleated as such, it does just come round to a very sort of straight cut at the bottom. Now I do really like this skirt, and I have to say it is really comfortable to wear, but again, this skirt region does not have like any stretch to it, whereas the bit that is confusing is that this whole dress is lined with like the stretchiest material going. It is so stretchy. Obviously you can see it is kind of see-through, so you couldn't just have a dress made out of this unless it was from Wish. But it is really stretchy, and it's also really soft, so it is so comfortable to wear. And actually that lining does go through the entire dress, as you can see. So other than the sleeves, if I turn it inside out, you can see that it is double lined with this really stretchy material. So although the satin has no stretch, the inside does have stretch, which is quite a weird concept to get your head around, because although when you touch it, it is stretchy, the overall dress, like there is so much kind of structure in there from the satin itself that, you know, it really doesn't stretch too far. Now my only kind of complaint from this dress, other than the fact I had to size up, which maybe it's because I'm kind of teetering between the two sizes, but my only complaint is that because of the difference in these two materials, the lower part, the inside part of this dress does come out and like fall lower when you're sitting down. So when you're standing up, it is absolutely fine, but when I sit down, I find, and to be fair, it's kind of showing you it was already kind of doing it, but I sit down, which is fine, and then the satin layer kind of stretches around me, and then the stretchy layer just kind of frills out from underneath. So whenever I'm sort of sat down, I end up having like the satin layer kind of quite tight, and then this like nice stretchy layer is just poking out from underneath. And as you can see, it's like very obviously a different material. So that would be like my main con to this dress, is that it doesn't look very flattering when you sit down. Well, not on me definitely, and I'm not sure if it's because like my thighs are quite large, so that satin material has further to stretch around, but because of like the stretchy material underneath, it can literally stretch to like any size and be fine. So this bit is all kind of very loose underneath and sort of sticking out, whereas this is just completely tight around you. It's not uncomfortable tight, it's just the fact that visually it means like that underneath layer does poke out and it is visible. I am really pleased with this dress, and I definitely have been getting wear out of it at school. The sleeves are very much the same sort of style as these ones, which I really don't mind. It is quite a short dress, but I have to say when I'm wearing it, I'm not constantly tugging at it. I think because it's such a very structured material, it doesn't really kind of get too like, it doesn't ride up or anything, and you do have that underneath layer that's always kind of covering your modesty. So if, say, the satin has rid up slightly, you do still have this material. So I have to say, although it is short, and I do wear it with a pair of leggings, but to be honest, I wear every dress with a pair of leggings, it is still very, very wearable. Before I show you how this looks on, I'm just going to show you the print slightly closer so you can get an idea of like the little hidden skulls, because I feel like on their website you just don't see it at all really. So it has the red roses, obviously they're kind of like at different angles, so this one is somewhat upside down. Can I find one that's the right way around? There you go. So you've got the red roses, and in the middle of each of the roses there is a skull. You then have another sort of flower here, a pentagram, and then there is like a little grey skull and crossbones, and then all the kind of background details are in this grey, and then there is also this pentagram here as well, which has some leaves coming out of it. So this is kind of repeated all over the dress. They are sort of like in different angles, so they sort of look very random, and I have to say, like, even though it is covered in skulls and pentagrams, as I say, I do wear this to school and I don't have any issues, because it does just look like a floral dress unless you're getting closer and looking at those fine details. But I really love this print. It shows up really nicely in person. As you can see, it's a really nice kind of like bright red, like against the black, like it's kind of the same colour as my hair. It's a very nice, like, bold print, but at the same time not too like colourful and in your face. You know, that's kind of a bit of an oxymoron. But yeah, I definitely feel like this dress is so much nicer than the pictures, but my only kind of advice would be to be very cautious on sizing, just because there really is absolutely no stretch in this dress at all. I will leave a link down below to this dress. I will also leave a link to the Killstar website, which if you have not purchased from Killstar before, if you click the link it will take 5% off your order automatically, but that is only for first time buyers, but I mean, you could try your luck maybe, but I will leave that link down below as well. So thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions or comments, please do leave them down below. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade, and I will see you next time.